Determination to shed over 65 pounds and shift my life's trajectory, enduring hunger and self-discovery, fuels my ongoing weight loss journey. 99. 6 pounds. I kind of can't believe I'm sharing that. I once told myself no one would ever know that number. It took me so long to summon the courage even to speak it out loud in an anonymous internet forum, let alone reveal it to people who actually know me. Yet, a couple of months ago, I finally told my wife. Last month, I shared it with a few close friends and family. Now, here it is. I am the biggest person most people will ever meet. If I ever claim to live the transparent life I aspire to, there's really no way to leave out something as fundamental, and as terrifying, as what is represented by that awful number. At 499. 6 pounds and 5 feet 8 inches tall, my BMI is 75. 9. I could lose more than half of my body weight and still, technically, be labeled as morbidly obese. Medical professionals refer to people like me as super morbidly obese. It doesn't feel super. It feels like suicide, just in slow motion. Living in this body means being hyper-aware of my own mortality but also, somehow, continuously turning my back on the speeding train that's headed straight for me. At this size, every little pain is a warning of the heart attack I'm convinced I'll have any day now. Every morning feels like dragging a grizzly out of hibernation midwinter. Sleep is a fleeting thing. Breathing is exercise. Stairs complain. Chairs break. The designers of our world never thought people could get this big. When folks find out how much I weigh, their first thought isn't there but for the grace of God go I. It's how the hell did he get so fat? It's a valid question, and though I know the answer is unsatisfying, ultimately it's the truth. I'm hungry. Let me go back to 1995, or maybe it was 1996. I was 17 or 18, but the number that stuck with me was 355. That's what the scale said at the family doctor's office. Stepping on it for the first time in years, I saw 355 pounds glaring back at me. Of course I knew I was fat. I was always the fattest kid in school. But still, that number shocked me. It shocked my doctor, too. Go on a 2,000 calorie a day diet, he told me, handing over a single, photocopied sheet as guidance. On one side was a dry, scientific definition of a calorie and some ranges about BMI. There was a tip about a serving of meat being the size of your palm. On the other, a trio of line drawings, one man with a massive belly labeled obese, one a bit smaller, labeled overweight, and a third, whose stomach was flat, optimistically dubbed healthy. That was the sum total of help I received for losing weight. There were no smartphones to track calories, no Google to fall back on, no way to know anything about BMR or TD or how many calories exercise might burn. Maybe there were reference books, but I didn't know they existed. So, in the absence of good information, I just tried as hard as I could not to be hungry. Spoiler, I still got hungry. Flash forward to the fall of 1999. I moved into an apartment on Coburg Street. By then, I'd never had a proper girlfriend, unless you count my relationship with Wendy, a certain redhead who lived on the corner. I saw her for lunch a few times a week. Money was tight, but there was a Subway on Union, so I could still indulge. I was in college, poor, but I always scraped together cash to see most of the St. John Flames home games. After each game, I went home hungry. Almost ritually, I'd treat myself to a foot-long meatball sub, 2 cookies, and a large chocolate milk. 40 home games a season, 40 indulgent meals. That's 74,400 calories per season, not even counting the playoffs. That year, like every year, I consumed mountains of fast food, greasy breakfasts, lunches, chips, and other snacks. I was always hungry. I tried Weight Watchers, Atkins, eating only whole foods, undertaking cleanses. Nothing ever quelled the endless hunger, and the number on the scale just kept climbing. Sometime in 2013, my weight read 460 pounds. I'd finally had enough. Friends had started tracking what they ate with MyFitnessPal, so I joined them. It worked, for a while. For the first time in what felt like forever, I watched the scale drop, 440 pounds 430. 425. Until I'd lost 47 pounds I started telling people I'd lost 50, rounding up with pride. But then the scale stopped moving for a few days. Frustration crept in. I'd been laid off the previous autumn, and my new job wasn't working out. Losing the weight didn't bring more energy or even a visible difference. The hunger returned. I went to see Wendy again. Chips followed. I realized my startup job wasn't going anywhere, so I nursed my disappointment with McDonald's on my way home. I worked hard, I deserve a pizza, I told myself. I wanted birthday cake. Barbecue season came around. I ate all my feelings, and those pounds I'd worked so desperately to lose came back even faster than I'd lost them. I just kept climbing. Later that year, I went to a new family doctor about an infection. He ordered a battery of tests. He was surprised I wasn't diabetic, so was I. My blood pressure was high, but not enough to need medication. You should lose some weight, he said, almost offhand. I told him about my 50 pounds weight loss and subsequent gain, and asked for advice. Lose only a pound a week, not 2 or more. And cut out ice cream, he said, the only food he actually mentioned. For the record, I hadn't eaten ice cream in a decade. I must have looked confused. He shuffled me out, 1 issue per visit, no time for more. Not even a photocopied sheet this time. Don't get me wrong, I'm not making excuses. I eat insane amounts of terrible food. I know it isn't good for me. But honestly, at this point, why do fat people even bother going to the doctor? We already know the diagnosis: fat and hopeless. May 4, 2018. My 40th birthday, I posted a message online about how utterly futile it felt to battle my food addiction. The response floored me. I wrote about how much getting older scared me, how tired I felt, just bone-deep exhaustion. The unexpected outpouring brought me to tears. People told me they understood. They told me I was worth it. They let me know that they got it. I think what resonated was that I didn't frame my food addiction as just a weight problem. I wrote about filling up that dull, aching vacuum inside, about how most of us are fighting the greatest battles in our own heads. I can't speak for everyone, but now I'm certain that's true for almost all of us. January, 2019. 499. 6 pounds, propelled in part by rereading all of those encouraging messages. I decided enough was enough. I find myself once again at war with my own body. This isn't the first time, not by a long shot, but now, for the first time, I understand that this battle is not the neat, cinematic fight I once imagined. There's no final, rousing objective. No finish line, no goal weight that magically resolves all things. What I'm fighting now feels more like guerrilla warfare, messy, drawn out, always lurking in the shadows, and it will continue, relentlessly, for as long as I live. I am hungry. Not just physically, though that gnawing sensation comes and goes, but I am finally hungry for something more. This hunger feels fundamentally different than it did the last time I lost 50 pounds. Now, it is not only about subtracting from my body, but rebuilding, undoing the years of destruction I inflicted on myself. For so long, I've been cruel to my own body, and I want to fix what I can. I hunger to walk down the street without getting winded, to fit into airplane seats without needing a belt extender or worrying if I'm invading someone else's space. I hunger to visit a new restaurant without the dread that I'll be crammed into an unforgiving booth. I want to spend more time outside, to step into any room and trust that the chair will hold me. I want the simple pleasure of shopping for clothes and trying them on in the store, without shame. I yearn to climb mountains. To ride a bike again, to feel the wind through my hair and the ache in my muscles that means victory, not defeat. I want to return to the stage, to act, to lose myself in performance, something I haven't done in years because of my size. I feel an urge to make more photographs, to go back to work in an office and be a better employee, a better friend, a better husband. The truth is, when you're morbidly obese, it isn't just your health you risk, your loved ones carry part of your burden too. My wife, my friends, they have quietly, steadfastly supported me, and I don't want them to bear that weight any longer. I am hungry to live. I want to soak up as much sunlight as I possibly can before, someday, my body is gone and my ashes are scattered to the wind. I want to use whatever strength my body gives me, right here, right now. There is no promise I'll have it tomorrow. I am desperate, finally, to meet the man I know is somewhere underneath this body, the man who weighs less than 355 pounds. The last time I saw him, he was just a boy. For most of my life, I was scared to seek him out. I told myself that being fat was what made me special, what set me apart. I feared that, stripped of that, my other accomplishments might not be enough. But I am no longer afraid. I'm getting older, and I need to know who that smaller man really is. I'll admit it, I'm still hungry, for food. The daily decisions about what and how much I eat are never easy, but accepting that being fat is harder has become a kind of daily mantra for me. I remember standing on my specialty bathroom scale the day I tipped 499. 6 pounds. I swore I'd never tell anyone that number. Yet here I am, breaking that promise. At that same moment, I made another vow: I would never, ever see 500 pounds on that scale. Today, I stand at 434. 2 pounds. In my 40th year, I have lost 65. 4 pounds. It's just a scoop out of the mountain I've built, but it's a start. There is such a long way ahead, but I am moving. I have burned the boats behind me, there is no going back. There is always hope. Tomorrow, I turn 41, and for the first time in years, I am looking forward to what the future holds. Update 1. Yesterday, I shared my story about weighing as close to 500 pounds as a person can get without crossing that line, and my ongoing, humble, but determined battle to lose weight. The outpouring of support, private messages, and comments was overwhelming, far greater than I ever anticipated. I'm not able to reply to everyone individually, but I want to acknowledge just how grateful I am and answer some of the common questions I received. First and foremost, thank you. This morning, I went for my usual walk around the park near my home. Normally, I cover the 6.5 kilometers at a typical, lumbering pace, about 18 minutes and 30 seconds per kilometer. Today, I did it in 15 minutes and 52 seconds. I swear it felt like every word of encouragement was pushing me along with a new strength I hadn't found before. Also, if you didn't catch the mention at the end of my last story, there's a book that helped me a lot. I have no affiliation with it and, honestly, I just bought it and found inspiration in it, especially in the humor and the honest voice Tommy Tomlinson uses in Elephant in the Room. That book influenced the way I told my story. including the Wendy as a lover joke. I'm just a guy who liked a book, nothing more. I'm not a medical doctor, and giving out advice isn't something I'm fully comfortable with, but I can share my personal experience. Some have asked how I got started. I wish I could tell you about a big snap moment, a dramatic epiphany, but the reality was quieter. The closest I got was seeing 499. 6 pounds on the scale staring back at me. That, and a push from a close friend, made me commit to brutal honesty. I began to track absolutely everything I ate. Here's the strange thing, I wasn't even trying to lose weight at first. I had failed at it too many times. But after just a few days of tracking, I realized I was, unconsciously, making slightly better choices because I didn't want to log junk into my food diary. That led me to purposely stick to the calorie intake recommended for losing 2 pounds a week. Bit by bit, it got easier, but there were some truly awful days early on. For about 2.5 months, I just focused on eating right, no exercise at all, not even the mildest attempt. When the weather finally started to cooperate, I went for my first walk, 0.8 kilometers in 18 minutes and 55 seconds. It was rough, but I stuck with it. In April alone, I walked over 70 kilometers. These days, I shoot for around 2,000 calories per day, focusing on vegetables and protein, keeping carbs low, not eliminating them entirely, just controlling them. My strategy is simple and, for now, it's working. I don't actually have a long-term goal weight in mind. I just aim to eat around 2,000 calories a day. That approach will help me lose quickly for now and, eventually, things will slow as my maintenance number approaches what I'm already eating. Every day, I weigh myself. My weight yo-yos a lot, but I use an app called Libra to track my true progress with a trend line. As long as my 14-day trend keeps slipping down, I'm happy. People ask me about surgery. I've looked into weight loss surgery, and I understand the courage and commitment it takes. I respect those who have decided that path. The journey is a challenging one. I haven't ruled it out for myself, but right now, I feel strong with what I'm doing. I want to see just how far I can take this on my own first. Therapy came up a lot too. I'd be naive to ignore the mental side of being nearly 500 pounds. I haven't started with a professional, and at the moment, I'm just not ready. Maybe that'll change soon. For now, I lean on friends and family, who are incredible listeners and have my back. There's been a flood of advice: drink more water, go keto, try intermittent fasting, do water fasts, and a host of other things. I appreciate every bit of it. My current routine feels sustainable, and when it no longer works, I'll keep experimenting, maybe new exercise routines, especially once the cold comes back. Some people asked how to help loved ones facing a similar battle. That's a tough question, one I've been asked and wrestled with before. From my experience, unconditional love is the foundation. Show acceptance and support, but don't nag or lecture or mock. That never motivated me and, if anything, made things worse. The people who love me, their care and faith inspire me to try harder for myself and for them. A lot of people complimented my writing, which means a lot. I work for myself writing content, doing photography and video, even script writing. To those who suggested writing professionally, in a way, that's already my job. A book? Maybe not in me. Update 2. 3 months have passed since my last update, and I'm sitting here at 387. 2 pounds. That's another 47 pounds gone, 112. 4 pounds total. I should be celebrating, but instead, I'm writing this at 2:47 a.m. because I can't sleep, and the reason has nothing to do with my weight. 2 weeks ago, I discovered something that shattered the foundation I thought I was building my new life on. I found text messages on Sarah's phone. I wasn't snooping, at least, that's what I tell myself. Her phone was charging on the kitchen counter when it buzzed with a notification. The screen lit up, and I saw a name I didn't recognize: Mike from the gym. The preview showed just enough: can't wait to see you again tomorrow. My blood turned to ice. Sarah had been going to the gym for the past month, something she'd never done before. She said she wanted to support my journey by getting healthier herself. I was so proud of her, so grateful that she was making changes alongside me. The next morning, after she left for what she said was an early workout, I did something I never thought I'd do. I went through her phone. Mike isn't just some gym buddy. He's her trainer, a trainer she never mentioned by name, a trainer she's been messaging every single day for 3 weeks. A trainer who calls her beautiful and tells her how amazing she looked in her workout clothes. A trainer who suggested they grab post-workout smoothies at his place. But here's the part that really destroyed me. In one message, she wrote, "I feel like myself again when I'm with you. Like I'm not just taking care of someone else for once." I've read that message maybe 100 times. Each time, it cuts deeper. I confronted her that evening. She broke down immediately, didn't even try to deny it. She said they'd kissed twice, nothing more, but that she had feelings for him. She swore it wasn't about my weight, but then, through tears, she said something that's been echoing in my head ever since: "I've been invisible for so long, Dave. When's the last time you looked at me, really looked at me, as anything other than someone who takes care of you?" I wanted to argue with her, to tell her she was wrong, but sitting there, 387 pounds of me squeezed into our kitchen chair, I realized I couldn't remember the last time I'd initiated anything romantic. The last time I'd complimented her appearance, or suggested we go somewhere together, or even asked about her day without it somehow circling back to my weight loss or my struggles. She moved in with her sister temporarily to think things through. That was 12 days ago. The strangest part? I keep losing weight. I thought heartbreak was supposed to make you eat your feelings, but I've barely been able to stomach anything. I'm averaging maybe 1,200 calories a day without even trying. The scale keeps dropping, but I feel more broken than I have in years. Yesterday, I saw Dr. Martinez for my 3-month check-in. My blood pressure is perfect now. My resting heart rate has dropped from 98 to 72. She called my progress remarkable and life-changing. When she asked how I was feeling, I almost laughed. Physically? The best I've felt in decades. Emotionally? I'm in pieces. Here's what nobody tells you about losing weight when you're married: your relationship changes, and not always for the better. I've been so focused on becoming a better version of myself that I forgot to consider whether Sarah was along for that ride, or if she was just the caretaker watching from the sidelines. I'm walking 10 kilometers a day now, sometimes more. I walked for 3 hours straight the night I found those messages, just wandering the streets until my feet were screaming. The physical pain was easier to handle than what was happening in my chest. Part of me wonders if she's right. Maybe I've been selfish. I've been so consumed with my own transformation that I lost sight of the woman who's been my anchor through the worst years of my life. She's watched me struggle with my weight for our entire relationship, never once making me feel ashamed, never complaining when I broke furniture or couldn't fit into restaurant booths or needed help tying my shoes. But another part of me, the part that's been growing stronger along with my shrinking body, is angry. I'm finally doing the work, finally becoming the man I promised her I would be, and now she's found someone else? 3 days ago, she texted asking if we could talk. We met at the park where I do my morning walks. She looked different, thinner, more vibrant. Her hair was styled in a way I hadn't seen before. She was wearing makeup. "You look good," she said, and I could see she meant it. "Really good." "So do you," I replied, and we both knew what that meant. We talked for 2 hours. She admitted that watching me transform had made her realize how stagnant she'd felt in her own life. She said Mike made her feel desired in a way she hadn't felt in years, but that she also felt terrible about it. She missed me. She missed us. But then she said something that's been haunting me: "I'm scared, Dave. What if you keep changing and decide you don't need me anymore? What if you lose all this weight and realize you can do better?" I wanted to tell her she was being ridiculous, but I couldn't. Because lately, I'd been having thoughts I'm ashamed to admit. Thoughts about what it might be like to date at a normal weight. To walk into a bar and not immediately scan for the sturdiest chair. To be with someone who chose me for who I am now, not someone who's just relieved I'm finally getting my act together. We're supposed to talk again this weekend. I don't know what I'm going to say to her. I don't know if we can fix this, or if we should even try. What I do know is this: I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to eat my way back to 499 pounds because my marriage is falling apart. For the first time in my adult life, I'm discovering who I am when I'm not defined by my weight, and I like him. I like the man who can walk for miles, who doesn't get winded going upstairs, who can shop for clothes in regular stores. I'm 387. 2 pounds. I've lost 112. 4 pounds. My marriage might be over, but I'm not. The man underneath this body, the one I've been searching for, he's still worth finding. Update 3. It's been 6 weeks since Sarah and I had that conversation in the park. 6 weeks since she asked if we could work things out. I'm writing this from a hotel room in Burlington, and I'm 361. 8 pounds, another 25. 4 pounds gone. That's 137. 8 pounds total, but the number feels hollow tonight. Sarah moved back home 3 weeks ago. We agreed to try couples counseling, and for a brief moment, I thought we might actually make it work. Dr. Chen, our therapist, had us doing these exercises, 20 minutes of uninterrupted conversation every night, no phones, no distractions. Just us, talking like we used to. It was going well, or at least I thought it was. Sarah seemed engaged, asking about my walks, celebrating when I hit new milestones. She even joined me for a few evening strolls around the neighborhood. I started to believe we were rebuilding something real. Then last Thursday happened. I was at the grocery store, loading up on my usual lean proteins, vegetables, the kind of food that's become routine for me now. As I rounded the corner into the cereal aisle, I saw them, Sarah and Mike, standing close together, her hand on his arm as she laughed at something he'd said. They were both holding coffee cups from that expensive place downtown, the one she always said was too pricey for us. I froze. My first instinct was to confront them, to march over and demand an explanation. But instead, I just watched. The way she looked at him was different from how she'd been looking at me since she came home. Her whole body was angled toward his, like she was drawn to him by some invisible force. I left my cart in the aisle and walked out. When she got home that evening, I was sitting at our kitchen table, the same table where she'd confessed her feelings for him months earlier. "How was your day?" I asked, keeping my voice level. "Fine. Quiet. Did some errands." She didn't meet my eyes. "What kind of errands?" "Just, boring stuff. Picked up dry cleaning, grabbed some coffee, The lie hung in the air between us like smoke. I could have called her out right then, could have told her I'd seen them together. Instead, I just nodded and said, "That sounds nice." That was 8 days ago. We've been living like polite strangers ever since, going through the motions of reconciliation while something rotten grows between us. She leaves the house for hours at a time with vague explanations. I pretend not to notice when she comes home smelling like cologne that isn't mine. The breaking point came yesterday morning. I was in the bathroom, getting ready for my usual walk, when her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Without thinking, I glanced at it. The message preview showed Mike's name. "Last night was incredible. When can I see you again?" My hands were shaking as I set the phone down. Last night, Sarah had told me she was having dinner with her sister to talk through some things. She'd gotten home after midnight, claiming they'd lost track of time. I didn't confront her. Instead, I packed a bag and drove to Burlington. I told her I needed a few days to clear my head, which wasn't entirely a lie. I just didn't tell her where I was going or why. I've been here for 2 days now, walking the shores of Lake Champlain, thinking about everything that's led me to this point. Yesterday, I walked 14 miles without stopping. My legs were screaming by the end, but my mind was clearer than it's been in months. Here's what I've realized: I've been so focused on becoming the man I thought Sarah wanted that I forgot to ask if she still wanted to be the woman standing beside him. Maybe she's right to be scared that I'll outgrow our relationship. Maybe I already have. This morning, I called a divorce lawyer. Just to understand my options, I told myself, but even as I said it, I knew I was lying. The consultation is next Tuesday. I also did something I've never done before. I updated my dating profile, not to use it, just to see what it would look like. For the first time in my adult life, I posted recent photos of myself. Photos where I don't look like I'm hiding behind my weight. The response has been unexpected. In just 12 hours, I've gotten more messages than I received in 3 years when I weighed nearly 500 pounds. One message stood out. A woman named Claire, a photographer who specializes in mountain landscapes. She mentioned that she'd noticed I was interested in hiking and asked if I'd ever been to Mount Mansfield. "The views are worth every step," she wrote. "Maybe we could tackle it together sometime." I stared at that message for 20 minutes. 6 months ago, the idea of hiking a mountain would have been laughable. Now? It actually sounds possible. I haven't responded to Claire yet, but I also haven't deleted the message. Tonight, Sarah texted asking when I'm coming home. "We need to talk," she wrote. "I miss you." But here's the thing, I don't miss her. Not the way I thought I would. I miss the idea of us, the life we were supposed to build together. But this version of her, the one who lies about coffee dates and comes home smelling like another man? I don't miss her at all. I'm checking out tomorrow morning. I'm going home to face whatever conversation is waiting for me. But for the first time since this whole mess started, I'm not afraid of what comes next. I'm 361.8 pounds. I can walk for miles without getting winded. I can climb 3 flights of stairs without my heart pounding. I can look in the mirror and recognize the person staring back at me. The man I've been looking for my entire adult life? I think I'm finally starting to meet him. And maybe, just maybe, he's strong enough to walk away from something that's no longer serving him, even if it's the only thing he's ever known. The mountain Claire mentioned is a 4-hour drive from here. I've been looking at photos of it all evening. The summit is 4,393 feet above sea level. A year ago, I couldn't walk up a flight of stairs. Now I'm seriously considering climbing a mountain. Maybe it's time to find out what else this new version of myself is capable of.